putting on makeup to impress a deity. Can you imagine? Talk about high stakes, right? But that's what ancient Egyptians were doing. It really puts our modern fascination with beauty rituals into perspective.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Like this timeless human desire to use these rituals as a way to connect with something bigger, something divine even.
Absolutely. And that's what we're diving into today.
Mm.
But with a bit of a twist, we'll be exploring the story of Freya, a woman who lost her sight, but ended up rediscovering the power of makeup in a whole new light.
Her story is incredible. It really challenges our preconceived notions of what beauty even is and how we experience it.
Totally. So Freya was diagnosed with juvenile idiopathic arthritis, or JIA,
Mm.
at just 2 years old. And while, a lot of people know JIA for how it affects your joints, for Freya, it actually impacted her vision.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize JIA could affect your eyesight.
Yeah, it's not as common. But for Freya, it led to something called chronic uveitis. It's basically an inflammation in the eye. And over time, that led to vision loss.
I see. So her relationship with makeup, it's informed by this whole other layer of experience.
Exactly. And she talks about how, in the beginning, losing her sight, especially as a young girl, it made her feel like she couldn't engage with makeup in the same way that she thought she was supposed to.
Yeah.
Like it made her question if she could still feel like a real woman, which I think really speaks volumes about the pressure we put on ourselves to fit these, honestly, often totally unattainable beauty standards.
It's so true. It's like we internalize these messages about what it means to be feminine, to be beautiful, and it can be so hard to break free from those expectations.
It's almost like, losing her sight kind of forced Freya to confront all those beauty standards head on. Like she talks about how at first she was really trying to apply her makeup the same way she'd always seen other people do it.
Trying to achieve that like perfect Instagram makeup look.
Exactly, like aiming for that absolute picture-perfect precision. But with her vision changing all the time, that became basically impossible.
Yeah, I can imagine that must have been so frustrating.
Totally. She'd show up to school sometimes with uneven foundation. Her liner would be smudged. Can you imagine? And this is me saying this. There are days when I can barely get my eyeliner even.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it. Eyeliner and me, we do not always get along.
Right. It's like a whole process. But it's so true, though. Like, we get so caught up in striving for this flawless ideal that we kind of forget that real beauty, true beauty, it's about so much more than just like, precise lines and perfect symmetry.
100%. And you know what's so great about Freya's story? It's like, instead of giving up, she realized she kind of had to adapt, find a whole new approach. And guess what? Her, like, quote unquote, adapted routine, it's actually full of amazing tips.
Even for those of us with, supposedly perfect 20/20 vision.
Exactly. It just goes to show you that incredible, like, human capacity for resilience, to find new ways of navigating the world, even when it feels like the rules of the game have totally changed.
Okay, so let's dive into some of these tips because they are seriously good. So Freya, she's all about a sheer, like, lightweight base these days. She used to be all about piling on that full coverage foundation.
Trying to cover up every little thing.
Totally. It's that whole Instagram face thing.
Which, honestly, rarely looks as good in real life as it does through a filter, let's be real.
Right. And that's what Freya realized. Trying to mask everything, it kind of just highlighted what was underneath anyway.
It's so true. Sometimes less is more.
Totally. Embracing a more natural look, letting a bit of your real skin shine through. Maybe that's the key to actually feeling more comfortable in our own skin. And, it's not just foundation. Freya's also become like a huge fan of the smoky eye.
Oh, interesting. So how does that work with her vision?
Well, that's the thing. That less is more approach actually kind of plays into her vision change in a way.
I mean, it makes total sense when you think about it. With a smoky eye, you're blending, right? You're diffusing the edges. You don't need to be, like, precise with it.
Exactly. And Freya even says it's been kind of freeing for her. Like, it allows her to be more creative and expressive with her makeup without getting, like, bogged down by all those rigid rules about how it's supposed to look.
Which I think is such a great takeaway for all of us, honestly. Like, how much of our energy do we waste trying to achieve this level of, like, unattainable perfection?
Right.
What if we all just, like, embraced the imperfection a bit more? Like, leaned into that perfectly imperfect vibe?
Totally. It's about, like, shifting our mindset from covering up to actually celebrating what makes us unique.
100%.
And speaking of celebrating uniqueness, can we talk about Freya's love for cream makeup for a second?
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Because, you would think that someone with limited vision might, like, gravitate towards powders.
Right, because they're usually more forgiving, less likely to smudge if you don't get it exactly right.
Exactly. But Freya actually told me she prefers creams because of her vision.
Really?
She's not relying on sight alone to apply her makeup. She's using her sense of touch.
That's amazing.
It's kind of beautiful when you think about it. She can feel the texture, the warmth of her skin. She just knows exactly where she's applying the product and how much she's using.
It's like this awesome reminder to engage all of our senses, to be present in our bodies. Like, I know I'm definitely guilty of relying too much on sight.
Right? It's so easy to get stuck in that, I think. But Freya's story is such a good reminder to, think outside the box.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings us back to this bigger theme of adaptation. Right?
Totally.
It's like even when we're faced with these huge challenges, we still have this incredible capacity to, not just adapt, but to actually thrive in new and unexpected ways.
And to find beauty in those unexpected places, too. Freya's journey is it's such a powerful reminder that beauty isn't about conforming to a single standard. It's about owning your individuality.
Loving your unique essence.
Yes, exactly.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into Freya's world, I think the question for all of us is what makes you feel beautiful?
Yeah.
And how can you embrace those things more fully, really celebrate them?
Such a good question.
If you're feeling as inspired by Freya's story as we are, and I have a feeling you are, we really encourage you to check out, her full interview. We'll be sure to link it in the show notes. And in the meantime, keep exploring what makes you uniquely you.